Love English podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Love English podcast. We are here to help you learn English for your real life in a simple and natural way. I'm your host, Leo.
And I'm Emma. It's so wonderful to be here with you all. This is a safe space for you to learn, so we will always speak slowly and explain everything. Leo, I have to confess something. To confess means to admit a secret. Yesterday, I was in a work meeting and my boss said an idiom I didn't know.
Oh, and what did you do?
I just smiled and nodded my head. I pretended to understand. I was too embarrassed to say anything. Embarrassed is that feeling of being shy or ashamed.
Emma, that is such a common experience. I think everyone, even native speakers, has done that. And that is the perfect way to start our very important topic for today, how to ask for clarification. Clarification means asking for more information to make something easier to understand.
This is such a key skill because if you don't ask, you can make a big mistake later. So, what is the first most important thing our listeners should know?
The most important thing is this. It is always okay to say you don't understand. It does not mean you are bad at English. It means you are a good, active listener. It shows that you care about understanding correctly.
That is a wonderful way to think about it. So, let's break it down. What are some simple phrases we can use when we just need someone to say the same thing again? Maybe they spoke too fast or there was a loud noise.
The simplest and most polite phrase is, I'm sorry, could you please say that again? Or, a little more casually, sorry, can you repeat that?
I also really like the phrase, I didn't catch that. It's a very natural and common way to say, I didn't hear or understand that. You could say, sorry, I didn't catch the last part. Could you say it again?
Exactly. So that's for simple repetition. But what if the problem is that the person is speaking too fast?
This is a big problem for learners. You can ask them to slow down. A very polite way to do this is, I'm sorry, my English is still developing. Could you please speak a little more slowly?
That's a perfect phrase. It's honest and polite, and most people will be very happy to slow down for you. Okay, now for your situation from yesterday. What if you understand most of the sentence, but you don't know one specific word or phrase?
This happens all the time. You should not be afraid to ask about that specific word or phrase. Let's practice. Leo, say a sentence to me with a difficult idiom.
Okay, let's say we are working on a difficult project, and I say, this is really hard, but we just have to bite the bullet and finish it.
Bite the bullet. I have never heard that before. So I would say, I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with that expression. What does bite the bullet mean?
That is a perfect question, and I would be happy to explain. I would say, oh, it's an idiom. It means to do a difficult or unpleasant task with courage. See, now you have learned a new idiom and the conversation continues.
That's so much better than just smiling and nodding my head. So you can ask, what does that word mean? Or what does that expression mean?
Exactly. Now, let's go to the next level. This is a super skill. What if you hear all the words, but you still don't understand the main idea? You don't need repetition. You need a different explanation.
This is when you can ask the person to rephrase it. To rephrase means to say the same thing in different, often simpler words.
How would you ask for that?
A great polite phrase is, I'm sorry, I'm not sure I follow. Could you explain that in a different way? I'm not sure I follow is a soft way to say I don't understand.
That is a fantastic advanced phrase. It shows great communication skills. Now, there is one last technique that is maybe the most powerful of all. It's when you check your own understanding.
What do you mean by that?
This is when you repeat back what you think you heard in your own words. This is the best way to confirm that you have understood correctly. You can start with phrases like, "So, what you're saying is," or "Let me see if I understand correctly. You mean,"
This is such a great technique. It shows you are listening very carefully. So if my boss gives me an instruction, I can repeat it back to him to make sure I got it right.
exactly. It prevents so many mistakes. Let's do a big role play to practice all of these skills. Let's use the work situation. I will be your boss, and I'm giving you instructions for a task.
Okay, I'm a little nervous, but I'm ready to practice my clarification skills.
Hello, Emma. I have a new task for you. I need you to compile the weekly sales data, create a summary report, and send it out to the whole team as soon as possible.
Okay, I have a few questions. First, could you please say that again a little more slowly? I want to make sure I get all the steps.
Of course. I said I need you to compile the weekly sales data, then create a summary report based on that data, and finally send it to the whole team as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you. I understand the first two steps, but what does compile mean in this context?
Good question. Compile means to gather or collect information together. So you need to collect all the sales data from this week into one document.
Okay, compile means to collect. I understand now. And you said to send it out as soon as possible. Does that mean today?
Yes, I would like it to be done by the end of the day today.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. Let me just repeat that back to make sure I have it right.
Great idea.
So, first, I need to collect all the sales data for this week. Second, I need to write a summary report based on that data. And third, I need to email that report to everyone on the team before the end of the day today. Is that correct?
Yes, that is exactly correct. Thank you for checking, Emma.
That was a perfect example. I feel so much more confident. I know exactly what I need to do, and my boss knows that I understand.
And you looked like a very responsible and careful employee. That is the power of asking for clarification. So let's do our final summary. Remember the most important rule. It is always okay to ask.
We learned 5 levels of clarification. First, simple repetition. Can you say that again? Second, asking to slow down. Third, asking about a specific word.
Fourth, asking someone to rephrase it in a different way. And fifth, the super skill, checking your understanding by repeating the information back in your own words.
We hope this lesson helps you all feel more powerful and confident in your English conversations. Understanding is the key to communication.
Thank you all for joining us on the Love English podcast. We will talk to you next time. Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening to Love English podcast. Remember, every minute you spend learning English is an investment in your future. Keep learning and see you in the next episode.